Welcome everyone to Crafting with Julia. If you're new to my channel, my name is Julia and I'm so glad you tuned in today. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I made these sunflowers and cattails using coffee filters. Sunflowers happen to be my favorite flower, so I was so excited to make these flowers. They're so inexpensive to make. All you need are coffee filters and some paint. And we're going to get to it. I'm going to show you how to do this. Today's video, we're going to start with the sunflower. I made the sunflower using coffee filters, except for the stem. The stem is made with tissue paper. And we're going to start with the stem. So for the stem, you're going to need a 12-inch wire, pretty sturdy wire, and green tissue paper, and the tissue paper is going to measure 20 inches by 10 inches. Okay, you're going to need some Mod Podge. And we're going to roll the tissue paper around the wire. Okay, and just keep rolling it. So I'm going to put my gloves on because it's going to get a little messy. So I'm going to put a little Mod Podge on the tip of the paper. Okay, and we're going to roll the wire and just keep rolling. And every so often you're going to add a little bit more Mod Podge. And just keep rolling. Add a little bit more Mod Podge. And keep rolling. Okay, and then when you get to the end, you're going to add more to the edge. Okay, roll it all the way to the edge. And now you're going to twist it a little bit, just like this. Just keep twisting it. Okay, now very gently, you are going to add a layer of Mod Podge all over the stem. Okay, and now we're going to place this in a piece of styrofoam and wait for it to dry. Okay, and while that's drying, we're going to set that aside. While that's drying, we're going to make the sunflower. So we're going to start with the actual yellow part of the flower. For that, we need 3 pieces of coffee filters. Okay, there's 3 coffee filters here. Now I'm going to lay out some aluminum foil. Hard to grab with my gloves on. And I'm going to take the coffee filters and lay them out on the foil. Okay. Then we're going to take a little mixing cup and some yellow paint, and I'm using bright yellow. Put a little bit in your cup, and we're going to add a little bit of water because we want it a little thinned out. Okay, and now we're going to mix that. Okay. And we're going to paint the coffee filters. Just taking a paintbrush, and you're going to start from the center and work your way out. And that will prevent wrinkling. Just give it a nice coat of the yellow. Make sure you get all the edges. Make sure there's no white showing. Okay, do the same thing for the second one. I hope you're enjoying this video. If you already subscribed to my channel, I want to thank you. If you haven't, I hope you do. You can also connect with me on Instagram and Facebook. Those links are in the description below. Okay, and then we're going to do the third one. Make sure they're nice and saturated. Okay, so now that we've painted the yellow, we're now going to make the center. And I'm using Autumn Leaves by Folk Art. And you're just going to put a little dab. And this we're not going to mix with water. This is going to be straight paint. I'm going to take my brush, dip it into the paint, and we're going to make brush strokes. How it would look on a flower. You're going to start from the center and just go out. Okay. Okay, just like that. And if you want it to be darker, just add more paint. I like the centers to be very dark. Okay, like that. That's how it should look. Out in the center. And we're going to do this while the yellow paint is still wet. Okay. Now that that's done, we're going to take a blow dryer and dry each piece. So I've got my blow dryer here. I'm going to put it on the hottest setting. And you want to lift the coffee filter very carefully. You don't want it to fold on itself because then the orange will go further into the yellow and you don't want that. So while it's on your hand like this, we're just going to take the blow dryer and dry it. And we're just going to keep going around until it's dry. You're going to do that for each one. You're going to lift it carefully, run your hand under it, and dry. Okay, let's take the third one. Okay, we're going to set these aside and let them dry even further. They have to be completely dry before you start your flower. So while we're waiting for that to dry, we're going to paint. Let me take my gloves off. We're going to paint the green part of the flower, which is this. Okay. Now, you might be asking, why didn't I just use tissue paper? The reason is because with the coffee filters, I can paint them any color I want. It's very difficult to get tissue paper in this color green. This is the color that I want, and this is the color that I used. It's folk art, and the name of it is Hauser Green in the medium. And that's the exact color I wanted. So, and that's the reason for doing the coffee filters. Plus the fact that they're already in a circle. I don't have to cut them out. So let's paint the green. So while we're painting the green, I'm also going to paint the leaves because I want the leaves to be the same color. So for the underside, this part here, you need 2 coffee filters, and for the leaves, you need 1 coffee filter. So that is going to be a total of 3. Okay. And again, I'm going to roll out my foil. Place my filters on the foil, and now we're going to mix the green. So again, I'm going to put a little bit of the green in my mixing cup. And add a little bit of water. So That's how much paint I put in there. And you're just going to add just a touch of water to cover the paint. And we're going to mix that up real good. So the paint is just a little watery. Can you see that? Okay. Okay, so again, I'm going to put some gloves on. And I'm just going to move these out of the way. Okay, I'm going to take a paintbrush and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to paint the filters. Again, you want to make sure that there's no white showing. And if you find you're running out of paint, just add a little bit more water. And mix it up. That's the nice thing about working with the coffee filters. You can make them any color you like. Get all the white. Okay, now that that's done, we're ready to dry. So we're going to lift. Now I'm going to set these down and let them fully dry. Okay, so now we're waiting for these to dry. We're going to make the center of the sunflower. So this is the part now that we're going to make, this part in here. Okay, so we're going to start. Now this, I use natural color coffee filters. If you don't have it, that's okay. You could use white. Really doesn't make a difference. Okay, now you're going to start with 6 coffee filters. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, you're going to make sure they're all even. You're going to fold them in half. And now you're going to snip along the edge. Now, I have these great scissors for doing that. You can use a regular scissor. You just have to, Okay, and that's what you want. You can use a regular scissor, you just have to do it more often. But that's how these scissors work. Aren't they great? I will have a link to these scissors in the description box. I got them on Amazon. All the products that I use, that I get on Amazon, I will link in the description below. Okay, so now that I have them all cut, I want to fluff them out. So just go with your fingers and just fluff it all out. Okay, and now we're going to roll it in on itself. You just want to take it, the edge, and just keep rolling it in. And you want a loose roll because I want the center to be big. So it's going to end up like that. All right, and then you're just going to take your glue gun and glue it closed. Okay, like that. Okay, now I'm going to tamper down the middle, because that's actually what a sunflower looks like. And I'm going to take some dark brown and some light brown paint. Now I'm going to start with the center and I'm going to paint it a dark brown, and I'm using Burnt Umber by Folk Art. So I'm just going to squeeze a little bit of that out onto my paper. And with my paintbrush, I'm just going to paint the center. Okay, just paint all the... That's why I use the natural color coffee filters, because it's a little brown to begin with, so the white doesn't show up as much. Okay, so it should look like that. All right, then I'm going to take a lighter brown, and this is Nutmeg Brown, and this is by Apple Barrel. And I'm going to paint the outer part. So taking another paintbrush, and I'm just going to go over the outer part with the lighter brown. And you want to be careful not to smash down the coffee filter. Okay, that's how it should look. All right, so we're going to set that aside and wait for that to dry. So now all of our pieces are dry and we're ready to make the sunflower. So I have 3 for the petals, 3 coffee filters for the petals, and I have 2 for the underside of the flower, and I have 1 for the leaves. And our stem is all nice and dry. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to make the petals. So you want to take 1 coffee filter, fold it in half, fold it in half again, that's 2, Fold it in half for the third time. Fold it in half for the fourth time. So you're going to fold it in half 4 times. Now you want to draw the petal. So I'm going to show you how that will look. So it will look something like this. So you want to draw a little line, and then you want to draw your petal all the way up to the top of the filter. All right? And you're going to do the same thing for all 3. Fold it in half. 2, 3, 4. Draw the petal. Okay, like that. Okay, third time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Draw the petal. And now you're going to cut out the petal. Okay, so it should look like this. And then you want to snip the tip off because you want the middle to be a hole. So it's going to look like that. Okay, we're going to do that for all 3. Snip the tip. Snip the tip. Okay, so now when we open them, I'm going to open it all the way up. And it should look like that. Okay, so we're going to lay that down. Now you're going to open all of them. And lay them right on top of each other. Okay, once they're on top of each other, now we want to create the crease in the petal. So you're going to take all 3 of the petals and you're just going to fold them in half like that. Okay, take all 3, fold them in half. Do this for all the petals. Okay, once we have the creases, we're going to set that aside, and now we're going to make the underside. So you're going to, again, fold it in half 4 times. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now this time, you're going to make a shorter petal. You're not going to go to the top of the filter. You're going to go a little bit below. So I'll show you in a minute what that is going to look like. So it should look something like that. See how the tip goes below the top of the filter. And now we're going to cut that out. And this time we are not going to cut the tip because I don't want a hole in the center. And then we're going to open that up. Be very careful not to rip the petals, and it should look like that. Okay, we're going to do the same thing for the second one. So we're going to fold it in half 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Draw the petal. Don't go up all the way. Should look like that. And cut it out. Open it up. And it should look like that. Okay, same as the other one. Okay, we're going to set those aside, and now we're going to make the leaves. So I'm going to fold it in half. Fold it in half again. So this time you're only going to fold it in half twice. And now we're just going to cut what would look like a leaf. Cut a leaf shape. Okay, so it should look like that. And you'll end up with 4 pieces, and I use 2 for each leaf. You'll end up with 2 leaves, back and front. So now I am going to start with the leaves. I want to glue the 2 pieces together. So I'm just going to run some hot glue around the edges and glue those 2 pieces together. Okay, same thing with the other one. Just run the hot glue around the edge. And glue them together. Okay. That's the leaf. Okay, now we're ready to put the petals on. So you're going to take one of your petals and you're going to put it up over the cone like that. And now we're just going to run some glue around the edge of the cone right here. The top edge of the cone. Run some glue around. Okay, and then you're going to take your petals and you're going to push it up. Push it up. So you end up like that. Okay, that's what that looks like. And now we're going to do the same thing for the second one. Now this time you want to make sure that you vary the leaves. You don't want them laying on top of each other. You want them offset. So we're going to put this on. Make sure we have it offset. So I want them right there. Okay, then we're going to run some glue around the edge. Again, and push it up. Okay, you're going to end up like that. So that's the second one. And now we're on to the third one. Again, you want to vary the petals so they're not stacked. Run your glue around. And push it up. Okay, and you end up with your flower. Now we want to put the bottom of the flower on. So we're going to cut the cone, cut it in half. So I'm going to cut it about right here. Okay. And you're going to run some glue around the edge. And you're going to place it in the middle of the green part. Okay. Now you're going to take some glue and you're going to run some glue around the flower, and you're going to push the green part up into the flower. Okay, like this, and just press it up into the flower. So it looks like this. And now you're going to do the same thing for the second one. You're going to run some glue around the edge, and you're going to place this right in the center, like that. And the same thing, you're going to run some glue around the edge and make sure the leaves are offset, and you're going to press it up. Okay. Just fix your leaves, fluff them up. Okay, so you end up with the bottom of the flower. All right, now we're going to add the stem. So you're going to take your stem and we're going to punch a hole in the center of the green part. Put some glue in there, and then you're going to add some glue to the top of the stem and put it right in the hole. Okay, so that's what we have so far. Okay, now we're ready for our leaves. You're going to take a leaf, you're going to fold it in half, make a crease, put some glue in the crease. We're going to add it onto the stem and just fix it out like that. All right, that's one leaf. Same thing, you're going to fold it, put some glue down the center, and put it on the stem. And there's your flower. Okay? Okay, we're ready to make the cattails. This is what we're going to make. We're going to start with the stem. Now, for the stem, I use a dowel. The dowel is 12 inches, and the diameter is 1/4 inch. I will leave the link to where I get these in the description. And we're going to start with some brown floral tape. This will also be in the description. So we're going to start with the floral tape. You want to wrap it around the tip, and we want to make that little spike that comes up. So you want to just wrap it around a couple of times, break it off, and then just twirl it to make the point at the top, like that. Okay? Then we're going to take the tape and just keep twirling it around the stick. You want to make a brown stick. You can also paint the stick. That works also. I just find it easier to wrap it with floral tape, because then you don't have to wait for it to dry. Okay, and it will look like this. Okay, now for the actual cattail, we are going to use 8 coffee filters. I am using the natural color coffee filters. You can also use white, it's up to you. So you're going to start with 1 coffee filter, and you're going to put some glue around the edge, all the way around. And I'm using Aleene's tacky glue. You can also use Elmer's glue, it doesn't matter. Now you're going to take your stick and you're going to roll the coffee filter onto the stick to about right there. Now you're going to take another coffee filter. Now we need to add volume to the cattail. So this is how we're going to do it. You're going to take the coffee filter, crumple it up in your hands, and then make that kind of a shape. And we're going to put it right here, right against the stick, and we're going to continue to roll. Continue to roll, keep rolling. Okay, till you have that. Now we're going to do the same thing again. Take a coffee filter, put glue around the edge, okay. Roll it about 1/3. Take another coffee filter, crumble it up, and stretch it out. Now we're going to put it against the stick and continue to roll. Okay, and that'll give us our volume. Okay, so now this is what we have. Okay. Now we're going to take the rest of the coffee filters, and now we're just going to put the glue around the edge and continue to roll. Glue around the edge. And this time, put the glue around the entire filter. Just keep rolling. One last time around the edge and in the center. Okay. And roll it. Okay, so this is what we have so far. Now you want to take a knife, and I want to have a clean cut. So I'm going to cut here to the top and here. I want to cut this off. Okay, so you're just going to take your knife and you're going to peel this off. Okay, and it should look like that. Okay, we're going to do the same thing to the other side. I'm just going to peel that off. Okay, and that's what it looks like. Okay, now for the messy part. I'm using farina. You can use coarse sand. The reason I'm using the farina is because I did not have coarse sand. I only have fine sand, and that's not going to work. You need something that's very gritty. So the only thing I really had that resembled that is farina. So you're going to take your Mod Podge, and we're going to coat the coffee filter with the Mod Podge. Just paint it on. Make sure you get all the coffee filter, because you want the farina or sand, whichever you're using, you want it to stick onto the coffee filter. Okay. All right, so now I am going to put on some gloves because this is going to get very messy. Okay, so you're just going to grab the farina and put it on top of the Mod Podge. Make sure you get a good coat. Okay, and press it in there like that. Now we're going to do another coat of Mod Podge. Just tap it so that the farina doesn't come off. Now that we have our second coat of Mod Podge on, we're going to do this again. Coat it with the farina. I guess you can use grits, you can use, I don't know, anything that's gritty. Make sure you tamp it down. Give it a good pat so that the farina sets into the Mod Podge. Okay. So you should end up with that. That's how it should look. And now we're going to paint it. So we're going to take these gloves off. We're going to take some brown paint. I'm using Burnt Umber by Sargent. Okay, we're going to take a little bit of paint and put it in our mixing bowl. And now we're going to paint. Okay. I'm going to put more gloves on. Now we're going to paint over the farina. Make sure you get all the little nooks and crannies. Okay, so it should look like this when we're done. Okay, you got your little tip in at the top, and it should look like that. Okay, now we're going to set this aside. I'm going to stick it in a piece of styrofoam. And we're going to create the little leaves here. Okay, so let me put this away and I'll be right back. So now that our cattail is dry, we're going to take some raffia. I got this at the Dollar Tree. You're going to cut 3 pieces about 10 inches each. And at the top, you want to just make it come to a little point, like it's a piece of grass. Okay, just like that. And now we're going to glue it onto our cattail. So with your hot glue, we're just going to glue it on. Okay, take the second one, do the same thing. A little bit of hot glue. And we're going to glue it on. And then take your third one, some hot glue, and glue it on. Okay, so there's your cattail. Okay, now we're ready to arrange them in a basket. Okay, I'm ready to arrange my sunflowers in a basket. I picked up this cute basket at Dollar General. It was $8, and I just loved the shape of it. It's nice and deep, so I thought this would be nice for my sunflowers. So what I'm first going to do is I'm going to put some styrofoam in the bottom. And this styrofoam I got at Dollar Tree. Okay, and I'm going to just put this right, glue it to the bottom of the basket. So a little hot glue. Just going to glue that right into the bottom of the basket. And then I had a smaller piece that was left over from another project. I'm going to glue that on the other side. When the glue is dried, I'm going to arrange my flowers and cattails. Okay, so that's what the inside of my basket looks like. I appreciate you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll join me again for my next video. Happy crafting!